Thank you, everybody who is here today to learn a little bit about the process of becoming a teacher at UAlbany. My name is Alyssa Yesko. I am the director of the Pathways into Education Center. I may have interacted with you guys. I know I teach some of you, but also I may have interacted with you guys through the PI Center. If you had any questions about any of our graduate programs, if you're an education minor, we have some of our staff here today from the PI Center as well, some of our graduate student staff. We have Ned Alexis, we have Alicia McDonough, we have Tony Navarro, and we also have Christy Smith from the School of Education. So a bunch of us here that are very knowledgeable and able to answer any questions that you might have. And we're going to be talking about the process of becoming a teacher at UAlbany. So most of you are probably here because you've at least given some thought to being a teacher and what that means, and maybe it's your overarching career goal, or maybe it's something you've just considered. But being a teacher is an awesome field to get into. You can make an immediate and long-term impact on your students' lives. And I think even more so now, you can help to meet the challenges of addressing inequities in education. It's a career that you can sort of build your own identity and become the type of teacher that you want to be with the tools that UAlbany can give you. You use your creativity, your strengths, the things that you're good at to inspire others, whether that be young children or high school students. And you can work wherever you want. There's teaching jobs all over the place. So there's a lot of flexibility, and it's a field that you'll always be able to find a job there. And for those of us who work in education, we know every day is different. You'll continue to learn throughout your entire career. So it's a wonderful field to get into. So just before we get into UAlbany specific stuff, I'm going to just talk a little bit about what it takes to become a teacher in New York State. So what are the actual overarching requirements? And this is just a pretty basic introduction into what New York State requires for certified teachers. So in New York State, you need both initial and professional teacher certification. Initial certification involves things like targeted coursework, observations, and student teaching experiences, and that can be obtained either at the undergraduate or graduate level. Here at UAlbany, we only offer initial teaching certification at the graduate level. So I think because we don't have that undergraduate teacher certification program, that sometimes students think, well, I'm a UAlbany student and it'll be difficult for me to become a teacher, but that's really not the case. No matter what program you go through, you need to obtain professional teacher certification in New York to continue teaching. And that requires that you get a master's degree. So you need a master's degree no matter what, and then 3 years of teaching experience. And I think what's great about waiting to get that certification until you're in a master's level program, there's a couple of things. So at your undergraduate level, you can focus just on your major. You can become an expert in your area, whether that be English or math or human development. You can become an expert in that. Instead of having to worry about fitting in your student teaching and also learning about managing a classroom and pedagogy and things like that. But on the other hand, students who graduate with their teacher certification at the undergraduate level often feel that they want to start teaching right away, but they still need to get their master's degree. So that means that a lot of brand new teachers are working in a classroom for the first time and trying to handle that first year of teaching while also taking graduate level coursework. That can be a lot. And so by doing it the way that it's structured at UAlbany, you finish your degree, you go right into a master's program if that's your choice. And then once you finish the master's program, you have all of the educational requirements that you need. You can start your career without having to go back to school. And then you have to just get that 3 years of teaching experience to get professionally certified. So at UAlbany, there are two options for you if you're thinking about becoming a teacher. And the first is a brand new initiative that we're really excited to talk about called the Great Dane Teacher Program. This is a combined bachelor's master's program. And then the other is through a traditional pathway where you complete your bachelor's degree and apply for one of our master's level programs that lead to teacher certification. So there's two options there. The Great Dane Teacher Program allows for you to begin your graduate coursework while you're still working on your bachelor's degree. For students in certain majors, they can apply to this program and they can complete up to 12 graduate credits while they're still working on their undergraduate degree. This is a great thing because it saves you time in your graduate program, and it saves you money in the sense that you're paying undergraduate tuition for graduate level courses, which are more expensive. So it has a lot of great benefits. And then for the traditional pathway, you would complete your undergraduate degree at UAlbany and then apply for a graduate teacher preparation program to begin either right after you graduate, or if you're thinking about taking a little bit of time, this option allows you to do that. There are more majors who might be eligible for the more traditional pathway. And this also allows you to take your time in deciding on your graduate education and explore your options. And so if you're not really sure if teaching is for you, you might not be ready to commit to one of those combined programs. So there are 2 teacher preparation programs at UAlbany that lead to that initial certification that I talked about at the graduate level. And so for those of you who are thinking about teaching at the elementary level, that program is the master's degree in special education and literacy 2. And then for anybody who's thinking about teaching a subject area in the middle or high school grade levels, that's our master's degree in secondary education. So for the master's degree in special education and literacy 2, you earn your teacher certification in 3 different areas. And that's a great benefit to this program. You earn your certification in childhood education, so that's grades 1 through 6, in special education for grades 1 through 6, and for literacy in birth through grade 6. This program really gives you a leg up on other candidates who only have one of those certifications. And I'll also say that those 3 certifications are very complementary of each other. So if you've ever been in an elementary school classroom, you'll know that there are students who will have an IEP, or who will be participating in special education, or who will have literacy and reading difficulties. And these certifications will help you to be the best teacher that you can be. So it leads to that initial certification upon completion of the program and provides you with the master's that you need for professional certification. It is a 67 credit 2-year program that consists of coursework, practicum, and student teaching. And upon graduation, you can teach in public or private schools in New York State, any K-12 public and private school in the areas that you're certified. And the 2 different pathways to this degree. So the first would be through the Great Dane Teacher Program. At this time, this option is available only to our human development majors who have a concentration in special and elementary education. These students are able to apply for the master's program in their junior year to begin graduate coursework in their senior year. And they would be able to start, the program starts in the summer. So any students who have completed some of that graduate coursework at the undergraduate level would be able to start the program in the fall instead of the summer. And then for the traditional pathway, anyone who majors in one of the liberal arts or sciences, which is a really broad list. And if you're curious if your major falls under that, we're happy to answer that question. But it's a lot of majors. And you would apply to begin after you graduate. So you'd apply during your senior year, or you could choose to take some time before you apply, but just know that the program only begins in the summer. Application requirements are the same for both the Great Dane Teacher Program and the traditional pathway. A minimum 3.0 GPA, transcripts from the schools you've attended, 3 letters of recommendation, a statement of goals, and your GRE scores. You can always check with our office because we are allowing some wiggle room with the GREs, not in that they wouldn't be required, because they are required by New York State no matter what for a teacher preparation program. But at the current time, for certain programs, we are allowing students to apply without their GRE scores under the condition that they will submit GRE scores by the time they've completed 12 credits in the program. And that stipulation that we have right now is just due to COVID-19 and the fact that a lot of testing sites are closed. This application deadline is for the upcoming summer. And so I would check back with our office to make sure that that policy still stands if you're working on an application, and we can always check in with the department. The other option that you have if you wanted to be a teacher at UAlbany is our master's degree in secondary education. This allows you to earn your teacher certification to teach a subject area for grades 7 through 12. And we have listed here all of the different content areas that our program can certify you in. This leads to initial certification and the master's degree necessary for professional certification. And it is a 42 credit, 18-month program that consists of coursework, practicum, and student teaching. And again, this allows you to teach in any public and private K-12 school in New York State. The two pathways to the MSSE, that's what we call the Masters of Science in Secondary Education, are through the Great Dane Teacher Program. So you'll see that some of the majors that and some of the content areas that we certify in are eligible for the Great Dane Teacher Program, but not all. So if you are currently interested in teaching physics or a foreign language, you would have to apply through the traditional pathway, although that could change in the future. So you can always check back in with our office to see if your major is part of the Great Dane Teacher Program. But you'll see that there are a good set of options for majors who are interested in the Great Dane Teacher Program. You can apply for the master's program as early as the end of your sophomore year to begin taking graduate level coursework in your junior year. And the same stipulation with transfer students that you have to have junior status and an established UAlbany GPA to apply. And you would be able to complete the program faster. So you would be able to finish it sooner than you would if you went through the traditional pathway. Through the traditional pathway, again, you would begin after you graduate with your undergraduate degree, applying during your senior year, likely to start in the summer or fall after you graduate. But again, if you chose to take a little bit of time off in between, that's also an option as well. But the program begins in either the summer or the fall. So application requirements are again, both the same for the Great Dane Teacher Program and the traditional pathway, and include a minimum of 3.0 GPA, transcripts, letters of recommendation, and they prefer that 2 be from professors in your content area, GRE scores, and a statement of goals. This program also requires 1 college course in a language other than English, which shouldn't be an issue for our UAlbany students. And there are some subject area or content specific requirements for students who want to teach a subject area. So you will need a certain number of credits in English if you want to teach English. And our program website has all the information about what those requirements are for each content area. Just a couple of other things that I want to mention that are a little bit outside of the graduate program, but pretty closely related is our pre-education minor within the School of Education. This is a brand new minor that's being offered, and it is targeted for students who are interested in becoming a classroom teacher. It has structured coursework that's very carefully chosen to help prepare students to either enter a teacher preparation program or explore the field of classroom teaching. It doesn't lead to any type of certification at the undergraduate level, but it's much more focused than our other general education minor. And our general education minor that we've had for such a long time is also a great option that allows you can certainly explore classroom teaching with that minor, but it's more general. You can take courses in a lot of different areas of education and mental health outside of classroom teaching. So this pre-education minor is a really great choice for anybody who's thinking about that Great Dane Teacher Program. It's a great complement to your major. A couple of other opportunities within the School of Education for those who are interested in pursuing a career in education, the TUI Family Fellows Program. This program is aimed at increasing the diversity and representation in the field of education and mental health counseling. It provides students with mentorship, with networking opportunities and scholarships. It's a great opportunity, and I just kind of wanted to highlight that. Also for students who are interested in education, we have an Education Honor Society at UAlbany. And so if you are an education minor, think about maybe joining that as another way to strengthen, your ties within education. And then lastly, we have an upcoming information session. So if the Master's in Secondary Education sounded interesting to you, like something that you might want to pursue either through the Great Dane Teacher Program or through the traditional pathway. We are holding an information session on Thursday of this week, where we'll have faculty from the department and staff, probably, I mean, me, it will be me, but who will be reviewing this program a little bit more in depth and allowing for some time for question and answer if you were interested in attending that. So if you have any questions after we leave this session, the PI Center is the perfect place to go. We provide information to our current students who are education minors, but also students who are interested in our graduate coursework, and help you to figure out what the best pathway is to get where you want to be in the field of education. We have different virtual Zoom hours than are listed here, and I apologize for that. But our virtual Zoom hours are listed on our website. And you can always email us at picenter@albany.edu. We're very diligent about our emails, and we try to get back to you as quickly as possible. So that's another really great option. But that's all that I have about the different pathways to become a teacher at UAlbany. Are there any questions, or does any of the other PI Center or School of Education staff have anything that they would like to add?
Hi.
Hi.
I like that you mentioned the TUI Fellows Fellowship, because I'm actually a mentor in the program. However, in my undergraduate, I was a fellow. So it kind of served like a pipeline into the program. And actually, when I was undergrad, because of the mentors that were in the program, they actually pushed me to apply for the master's program for UAlbany. Not only that, but it's been a very great experience being a fellow and then eventually being a mentor. So I definitely recommend it. You meet a lot of the staff that work in the School of Education, so it's a great way to network as well. And they really do support you as well.
Thank you, Ned. Do we have any questions from anybody who is attending? Feel free to enter those in the chat. I don't think we do have a chat. Okay. What is the time for completion between both graduate programs? So for the Special Education and Literacy 2 program, which is the program that certifies for the childhood education, that's a 2-year program. And so both programs are completed full-time. There's full-time coursework, but mostly they're considered full-time because there is student teaching experiences and practicum experiences in the schools. The Master's in Secondary Education, I believe, is 18 months. Christy, is that correct? 18 months from start to finish.
Correct.
But if you're part of the Great Dane Teacher Program, once you enter that graduate coursework, it will take a little bit less time.
Correct. Yeah, the secondary ed program, the way it works is you typically start either the fall or summer, and you go for a full year, and then you actually graduate the following December. So that's where it kind of gets, so the 18 months sounds a little confusing. So it is a full year and then the following fall semester.
Perfect. Any other questions about these programs? And like I said, you guys can always feel free if you start thinking about some of these or looking on the program pages, which I really recommend. I'm going to send you guys the program pages for each of them, just so that you have it in the chat. Let's see, here's secondary ed. This is the MSSE program page. And then the Special Education and Literacy 2 program page. If you guys take a look at these program pages and you find that you have more questions after you've looked them over a little bit more, feel free to, these program pages are also where you're going to find admissions deadlines, the most accurate and up-to-date admissions deadlines. So if you are thinking about applying to the program, I encourage you to look at these programs soon to see when the application deadlines are coming up, especially if you're thinking about applying to that Great Dane Teacher Program, but also if you're a senior and you're thinking about what your next steps are. So check those out and let us know if you have any questions after you've taken a look.
And I'll be operating our Zoom hours until 6 tonight, so feel free to drop into that link provided on the previous slides.
Thanks, Alicia. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here and for your interest in our programs. And please feel free to reach out if you do have questions. Thank you all. Bye, everyone.